What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the Honda Ridgeline and the Toyota Tacoma to see how these two mid-sized trucks compare. Now both of these specific specs are about $47,000. We have a Honda Ridgeline Trailsport all-wheel drive and a Toyota Tacoma TRD Off Road. Both cars are provided by Flow Automotive, Toyota and Honda. So we're going to take a look at that. Check out their websites, links down below. So, the Toyota Tacoma, we are no strangers to it on our channel. My brother has owned two of them, and we have a new one coming for our channel shortly, and we will have been able to experience 3 generations of the Tacoma. We love them with their off-road capabilities. The Honda Ridgeline, not really something that we have been too accustomed to. However, a lot of owners love this vehicle because it is a unibody based off basically a Honda Pilot at the end of the day with a bed. So this is more of a crossover SUV pickup. This is a more body-on-frame traditional truck. But the crazy thing is you got a 4-cylinder in the truck and a V6 in the crossover. So let's get into it, see how these two vehicles compare. Are they something you would cross shop, or are they for completely different buyers? Taking a look at the powertrains, the Honda Ridgeline is going to feature a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 with 280 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. This has a 9-speed automatic, all-wheel drive. Curb weight is around 4,500 pounds. Towing is 5,000 pounds. And then max payload capacity is about 1,500 pounds. Now, if we take a look over at the Toyota Tacoma, the normal engine available is a 2.4 liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine with 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. This one has an 8-speed automatic transmission, a 4-wheel drive transfer case. Curb weight on this truck is around 4,600 pounds. Towing capacity is 6,300 and payload is 1,600. So there is a little bit more capabilities out of the Tacoma, even though it's got a 4-cylinder versus the V6. Some other fundamental differences: suspension for the Honda Ridgeline is all independent in 4 wheels. Over on the Tacoma, we have independent up front. However, you have a solid rear axle with, of course, Bilstein suspension. Now moving on to bed space, that's going to be a very big difference as well with these two trucks. Tacoma, you have a soft open tailgate, and you're going to see a nice composite bed liner. There's some rails in all the corners, that way you can slide some extra hooks. Pretty good sized bed, of course, very deep as well. That is the configuration. Now over on the Ridgeline, this is where it really separates it. This one, no soft open, so manually let it do it this thing. This one, not nearly as shallow or as large, but you can still fit some dirt bikes in here. And you have some lighting as well, some hooks. The cool thing with the tailgate, it does weigh a little bit. You can grab this handle and we have a door. So that is a super unique aspect differentiating these, but the Ridgeline even has a lockable trunk. So popping that, you got your spare tire and a huge amount of cargo space. So that is definitely a cool point for the Ridgeline, giving you that extra versatility versus a standard bed. Even though it's bigger, you got a nice trunk in the Honda. Onto the exterior styling, I think the Toyota Tacoma is a super bold and aggressive mid-sized truck. Definitely has that off-road presence for the style. You got the massive black fender arches, upgraded wheels, tires, and suspension. It's a rugged looking truck. I don't think you can find a bad angle. I certainly have no complaints. Definitely a nice sharp vehicle. This one even has the longer bed. You got Tacoma stamped into the tailgate. Nice design overall. Now the Honda Ridgeline, a lot more softer in design. It looks more like a Honda Pilot or a Honda Odyssey with a bed. So you can tell it's not that body on frame like a Tacoma. It's a unibody, more of a crossover SUV with a bed. So certainly a cool design to it. It's a lot more subdued. Not saying it's a bad looking vehicle, it's just certainly not as off-road or aggressive. Very simple style, but nonetheless, for what they're trying to be, I think they both fit the looks for their category. Into the Toyota Tacoma, taking a look at the newest iteration of the Tacoma. Has a pretty cool interior. This one does have fabric seats. Leather is available for a very expensive $8,000 package. Cool design on the steering wheel with all of your typical buttons and an LCD display that is configurable. You have some controls on the left side. I do like the depth to the dashboard. It looks aggressive, it looks really cool. You also have extra storage, a nice glove box, and then a massive screen. Smaller screen is available, but this one definitely is huge. You can get all cool cameras in it for more money, of course. But all your basic information, backup camera, pretty simple, but very large. And then you have simple climate controls down below as well. Extra storage, wireless charging, all your drive modes select. You can see we have multi-terrain, we have a tow mode, downhill assist. You even have street modes that you can configure just toggling that. We have 3 for the street, And then if we hit the multi-terrain select, you can then toggle all these drive selects and see your different off-road settings. So pretty cool, of course, designed with real off-road settings. We even have the rear locking differential, but not a bad interior, pretty cool looking. Now hopping into the Honda Ridgeline. Now at the same price, this one does have heated and power seats with the nice leather material. It's a lot more simple in here. It definitely looks like more of a crossover or a minivan style, not as aggressive and bold. You do have a digital screen with all sorts of different information you're able to scroll through, similar to the Tacoma. Nice steering wheel overall, basic controls, memory seating, a little bit more simple on the door panel, and then a much smaller screen. So not quite as nice, I would say. The graphics aren't the greatest, and the screen is angled a little forward, so it's a little bit harder to see, but very simple overall. You have basic climate controls down below. Backup camera, graphics aren't quite as good. You have a couple views though. So this one I would say is a little bit on the boring side compared to the Tacoma. However, I do love the leather material for these seats versus cloth on the same price Tacoma. You have to spend over 50 grand, well over, to get the leather seats. But nonetheless, not too bad. You do have some drive modes in here, the off-road and normal modes, so a little bit more simple. Of course, being a V6, you're not gonna have that same kind of power increases with drive modes. I have a sliding rear glass on this specific one, sunroof as well, and then garage door buttons and the same sunglass holder up above. Now hopping into the back seat with the Toyota Tacoma. So this is their standard double cab. So not a bad seat. It is nice and padded. I definitely sit a little low. The backrest and headrest are very straight up. I do have good legroom and knee room behind the driver's seat at my height. I'm just barely touching them. Plenty of headroom. Now there's no climate vents back here, which is a bummer. No center armrest either. You have cup holders and some plugs and just a little bit extra storage. A little bit of storage on the door panel. It's a fine back seat. I wouldn't say it's the best by far. It's not the worst either. So it's decent. I wouldn't mind more recline and some air vents, but other than that, not the worst. On top of that, this does have some extra storage underneath. So if you grab under the seat itself, you do have a massive bucket under here, which is a really cool touch for extra storage that you're going to use this truck for. Now into the backseat with the Honda Ridgeline, once again 5'11". This is drastically different. First thing you're going to notice, I am way above the driver's seat. In the Tacoma, I'm about level with the headrest. This, I'm sitting way above them. Seat itself is roomy. I do have decent legroom. However, I can't quite get my feet and legs behind the seat without them being more smushed. So there is better legroom with the driver's seat, again, at my height on both trucks in the Tacoma. This one does feel, I'd say, more open in general. Good headroom, good armrest. You have an armrest in the center, climate vents as well. So I think the Honda Ridgeline is a little bit better in the back seat. Got that sliding rear glass. Just wish the Tacoma had some more amenities and more recline. Now this one, you can also grab the seats, lift this up, and we do have a ton of extra space underneath the floor, similar to the Tacoma. All right, so hopping into the Tacoma first, getting my bearings with it. First thing you're gonna notice, the seats are a little on the stiff side, I would say. Still comfortable though. You sink into them, they kind of cradle your legs. Pretty good movements. They are manual controlled in this specific spec. Armrests are pretty good. You do have a little bit of cheap plastics around it. However, padded armrests, nice cool grip, storage on the doors, extra grip. So it's cool in here. I mean, it's rugged looking. I like the textures. I like the depth to the dashboard and doors. Overall, it's pretty comfortable. Yeah, not bad at all. You have a more low hunkered down view for sure. Windows all seem to be decent. The back window is very small, so the mirror is a little tight back there, but you have a massive rear view camera. Visibility is all pretty simple overall, really nothing to be hard about. And then the steering feel pretty nicely weighted. It's not crazy heavy, but it's not super light either. So it feels nice so far just getting out of the parking lot. Man, not bad. Of course, I've driven these quite a lot. The hybrid is also a cool option, but like I said, that's a lot more money. So in this, the suspension hitting little bumps, not too bad. And then with the 4-cylinder, that's a big thing not everybody is a fan of. You kind of lose the simple aspects of a normal V6. Just slowly getting up to speed. We'll just do a big circle. I've driven both of these vehicles quite a lot. Now this one hitting some bumps still in the parking lot. You can tell it's a more rugged truck. However, the Bilsteins are going to do a good job. It's an easy vehicle to place too. You can see the farthest points of the hood, and you can kind of easily know where the back is. So if you are off-roading, hitting some trails where you gotta pivot the truck around, it's a maneuverable vehicle that I like quite a lot. Screens and everything look good in here. It's easy to use. Really can't complain with that. And then as far as the drivetrain goes, we have that 4-cylinder motor, and with the transmission, you know, getting up and going, you can hear the turbo a little bit. Not bad, smooth power delivery. I mean, we didn't even hit 3,000 RPM and this thing just started moving. So I do like with the turbo engines, you have that little bit of pep to get up and go for slow speed. It's definitely a good thing that I think is cool about 4 cylinders. And the hybrid, of course, is even more powerful down low. Now, driving more at 45, 50 miles an hour, it's a little rough. Like, you feel the bumps, you definitely feel it's a truck. It's a body-on-frame type of vehicle, so it doesn't have all the forgiveness that maybe the Ridgeline might have, as we hop in that shortly. But transferring from at least pavement to a gravel road, just feeling that a little bit. I mean, pretty smooth in the gravel. It kind of feels like it's at home. Of course, that's about all the off-roading I can do in a brand new truck. But you have all the drive modes to truly go off-roading, and this is something that's going to be exceptionally capable, especially with just everything you have in this. The ground clearance is significantly more like 11 inches versus like 7. All right, so any thoughts with the Tacoma? It drives like a truck. It feels about what you would expect. I don't think there's really any complaints. It drives like a truck. It's peppy. It's a little on the rougher side, a little on the stiffer side, but it's kind of what it's supposed to be. So in the Ridgeline now, this is a very different feeling vehicle already. Now the seat is pretty comfortable. Visibility is pretty much the same, just the screen isn't nearly as nice. You definitely feel way different. The dash and everything is much lower. You can almost feel like this vehicle is pitched forward. Like the back seats feel like they're much higher. So it's a little bit interesting. Now parking lot speed, steering is really light, easy, just like in the Tacoma. You can already tell just going 17 miles an hour. It's definitely a lot softer and smoother. This is a very good on-road capable SUV crossover truck. So it's an interesting category. Now with the V6, you have a little bit smoother power delivery, I would say. However, you gotta use it. As we get up onto the main road, we will test that out. But not bad. It definitely feels really comfortable. I think the seats are one of the biggest things. As soon as I hop in this, I mean, it is exceptionally padded in here, really, really comfortable. So this is a comfortable truck, great for daily use, just racking up highway mileage and things like that. It's a little bit harder to pinpoint where this is. Now, you're not going to be buying this to go hardcore off-roading. It's just not designed like that. We got the all-wheel drive system. You have a few modes for basically slipperier conditions, but it's not a rugged truck, I would say. But nonetheless, I mean, it kind of feels like a minivan or a crossover in here, just a big, round, wider space in here. It's nothing all too easy to pinpoint. Not to say it's hard, but it's definitely a lot different. But getting up and going, while it's a smooth power delivery, I mean, we're hitting 4,000 RPM and it's not that quick. I love in the turbos, low RPM, you have that torque. This one, you definitely kind of got to ring it out. I'm not going to try to do it on a brand new vehicle, but you really got to use the V6 to get the power. Not to say that's a bad thing, it's just definitely a difference between a turbo and a naturally aspirated motor. This is smoother on the road for sure, a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more subdued. So if you're looking for just a daily drivable crossover, I mean, this can do that, but it has the bed space as well. So it's definitely very unique. Going onto the gravel slowly, I mean, just like the other one, it feels pretty much the same. Maybe a little bit tighter turning circle, which is a cool touch. But nonetheless, for just light off-road trails, I mean, it's still going to be able to handle the little stuff, hitting that bump, nothing all too crazy. Yeah, so they drive very different. This is more like a car crossover that happens to have a bed. The Tacoma, it drives like a truck through and through. So I think you really are going to be looking for a completely different vehicle depending on which one you want. But on road, this is better. It's more comfortable for the seat, the suspension, technically a better view out. The glass are a lot larger in this. But the Tacoma's got the off-road ruggedness, the body on frame, the extra capabilities. So I'd say it's almost 50-50, just very different nonetheless. So ending thoughts after driving the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Trailsport and the 2024 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off Road. They're drastically different. I don't truly think you're really going to cross shop these. While these two are about the same price within a couple $1,000s, you are getting more amenities on the Honda, like the nicer seats, a few more bells and whistles throughout the interior. It rides really smooth. It's a really comfortable car-like experience. It's basically a crossover SUV with a bed. So it has those aspects that are quite nice for the people who are never going to go hardcore off-roading. Now the Tacoma though having experienced these off-road, if you are looking to rock crawl, lift it up, have a super cool truck, the Tacoma is definitely cooler. A lot of people aren't going to think the Ridgeline is all too cool of a truck, which is subjective. However, with the Tacoma, it's a little bit more rugged on the inside and outside. It's more capable for towing. You can get a hybrid drivetrain in it. You gotta spend a lot more money to really deck it out. But I think it's gonna really depend on what you're looking for. So there's my thoughts. Very different mid-sized trucks, probably the two polar opposites. I think they both have a lot to offer. It just depends on what you're looking for. So comment below, have you cross-shopped a Tacoma and a Ridgeline? Did you pick one over the other? I'd love to hear your thoughts. That is it then for today's video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for plenty more content, and I'll see you all in the next video.